Hello, I'm Dr. Maria Grandi, and I'm a physician at Student Health Services here at Brock University with a special interest in mental health. Today, we're going to look at some alternate ways for you to deal with the stressors in your life. Hopefully, methods that are more productive, more healthy, and will allow you to move forward and achieve whatever goal it is that you wish to achieve. Remember, if you wish to change, you have to actually be open to think, feel, and behave differently. A habit takes 12 weeks to change. Patience is a virtue in this case. Consider what I'm about to present as an opportunity for you to move from being stuck to being free. Today's segments will consist of the two topics as follows: mental health interventions and the 5 pillars of mental health. In the discussion about interventions for mental health, I would like to mention the transition and the connection between medications and psychotherapy. Medications are very, very useful when someone has a lot of distress in their lives, whether it's anxiety or depression. What happens is, this is what they may experience. It may be as though they're hanging by a string. They really don't know where their life is going, where they're going. All they can do is think about survival. What medications do is medications help stabilize the brain, which will help stabilize the thoughts, and which will help stabilize the medications. So medications will bring you usually up to a level such as this. As you can see, the medications will not solve the problem. However, they give you the time and the space and the energy to be able to do the psychotherapy. So the psychotherapy component would actually help you improve your function. So working together with medication and psychotherapy, people that have severe anxiety or depression get more benefit. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about what possible interventions are available to you through Student Health Services for your mental health issues. What would you think if a doctor that you were seeing said that you might need medications? What kind of thought would come to your head right away?
I think that I might feel kind of ashamed because it's not something that I could fix on my own.
I'd feel nervous about taking the actual substance with the chemicals in my body, maybe. But
Right. So there are some reasons that you would hesitate
Yeah.
to do so. Now, basically, medications are very helpful for you when you're very, very severely affected by an emotion, whether it's anxiety or depression. What medications do, and I'll give you a short demonstration in a moment, what medications do is they help bring you to a place where you can think and listen and hear and learn. Otherwise, psychotherapy, which is the next intervention, will not work. Let's talk a little bit about psychotherapy. Have either one of you had any experience or heard about what psychotherapy is?
No, not really.
Okay, so psychotherapy is about talking to someone, a professional, who can help you figure out where things could go better. Not so much where they've gone wrong, but cognitive, behavioral, interpersonal, those are the kinds that look at how you are coping right now in the present time. For those people who have trouble listening and don't want to take medications, then there are 2 ways of helping that individual. Okay, so let's talk about those 2 ways first. If you wouldn't mind just grabbing your pen and a piece of scrap paper in front of you. You can use the small one if you like, it doesn't matter. I'm going to ask you to write down one thing that you feel good about doing. It can be walking your dog on a spring day. If you can sort of make it one sentence, that would be the best type of example? One thing then, just a sentence. Okay, and can you tell us?
I said I like to spend time with my family and friends.
So that's very much a pleasurable activity, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. So if you were feeling quite down and you and I were working together, then I might suggest that this would be something you would want to put into your day more often, something that gives you a known sense of pleasure. And that's called behavioral activation. So that's a pleasurable type of activating yourself. Okay? How about you?
I said that getting involved in things outside or sports with my friends and family is something that makes me feel good.
And thank you for that one, because that is an excellent example of mastery. So you have pleasure and mastery as sources of activation when you don't really want to take medications. So there are ways for those individuals who don't want medications how to get better. So that would work more on an individual therapy level. If you don't want or can't access individual psychotherapy, then we look at group psychotherapy. And that's what we're doing today. We're in a group and we're talking about things that are important to us emotionally, mentally, in relationships, with ourselves and with others. So group psychotherapy has a number of advantages. Can you think of any yourselves where being in a group with your peers may be helpful for you?
Maybe it will normalize your situation that you're in, realizing that it happens to other people as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it might make you feel more relaxed because you're in a more natural environment, as opposed to one-on-one with a professional might be kind of intimidating at first.
Absolutely right. So you normalize it, you feel less alone. You expand the space, so it's not that you're feeling crowded or pressured to perform. Also, what happens is that you get to hear how people have succeeded. So you may learn something from each other, from your peers, which, of course, being as old as I am, I can help you with. So group psychotherapy is a very important dynamic. Now, as we come to the end of the session, I would like to ask you how you yourself would feel about any of the interventions that I've talked about that perhaps you never knew existed or maybe were hesitant about. Is there any intervention that feels more comfortable to you perhaps now?
I'd like the group therapy, but I've never heard of the psychotherapy, so that's a cool intervention.
Okay.
I think the psychotherapy is something that I didn't really know about before that would be something that I would be willing to try if I ever felt it.
Excellent. So in conclusion then, psychotherapy and medications together, psychotherapy medications together are very, very important when you're very ill. If you're not, and just it's basically a coping thing, psychotherapy is probably enough. Hello, welcome. I'm glad you made it today. Today's session, we're going to be talking about some 5 concrete actions that you can do when you're really feeling overwhelmed. These actions may have been used by you in the past. If you can take a moment, please, and Jade and Deanna, to think about how things have been for you in the past when you were really, really overwhelmed. What kinds of things would you have done or should have done, you think that you should have done? Can you tell me what worked for you?
I like to take like little breaks in between if I'm studying for a big exam or something. So that's one way that I kind of keep going.
So do you get up usually and move around? You go for some fresh air?
Yeah, I'll leave the place where I'm studying and kind of let my mind relax and maybe go outside for a bit.
Okay, thank you. How about yourself, Jade?
In one of our classes, we learn about mindfulness. So if I'm feeling really overwhelmed in one situation, I just think of what this moment requires of me and not to think about what's coming in the future or what happened in the past, just to focus on that present moment.
Excellent. You've obviously done some work or had some good teachers.
Yeah.
So what we've heard about is some physical activity, and mindfulness is in a spiritual domain. So the 5 pillars of mental health, and I'll just put them on the board for you, and these are in no particular order. So the 5 pillars of mental health. 5 pillars of mental health: sleep, physical activity, spiritual connection, nutrition, social support. How do you think, we've already talked about the 2, spiritual connection. Does that make sense to you what spiritual connection is, my term for that?
Yeah. Like having that connection with the wider world outside of your own self.
That's correct. So you can achieve that in many different ways. You don't have to go to a church or a synagogue. You can do music, you can dance, you can sing, you can paint, go for walks in nature, you can volunteer. These are all spiritual, they're outside of yourself. It allows you to see the wider world. Thank you. The next one that we'll start at the top is sleep. How would sleep help your mental health, and what does that mean?
I think sleep kind of gives you that break, and you need it to energize your body for the next day, just to recharge for current events.
So your body needs to recharge. So physically, it's important. Mentally, it also helps you put together everything you've gone through for that day. It helps you also get ready for your next day. So you renew your mental energy too by the amount of sleep. 6 to 8 hours is highly recommended. Any questions or comments? Our next one is physical activity. We've mentioned that. Trying to get out about 30 minutes a day. Notice I didn't say a gym or exercise. It really is about being physically active. You can walk upstairs, get off the bus a little sooner, many different ways. Nutrition. How will nutrition help your mental health?
I think it fuels your body and your mind. So if you feel like you're kind of getting tired when you're studying or something and you have a healthy snack, it kind of gives you that energy to keep going.
What would be the opposite of having a healthy snack, and how would it affect your mental health?
So having like junk food, maybe you might feel some guilt about that. I don't know if it would affect your mental health necessarily, but...
So the guilt is huge in this society, isn't it? Especially for female. Just in general, if you eat junk food, what happens is your blood sugar goes up, it gives you a boost, but then your sugar drops down real fast and you feel flat again and not energized. So not having the right healthy foods at the right times of the day, you need to have breakfast always, will affect your mental health. Lastly, social support. How does that affect you?
I think that's huge, especially at university, just being able to rely on your friends if you're feeling down or overwhelmed, and even your family, because a lot of students, we all live away from home. So it might feel like you don't have that social support, but it's usually there.
You just have to look for it, don't you? And that's the thing that's important, is looking for the social support at those moments where you feel so lonely, so isolated, or so anxious that you can't think. We all need to be loved and cared for. And that's what social support will do for us. So now that we've reviewed a number of different types of concrete interventions to help you achieve in a quick, easy way your own balance and mental health, have you learned anything that may be of use for you that you never knew about, or you've never used or might use more of?
I think social support is a big thing. I still do use it, but maybe not as much. And I think that some people know you better than yourself, maybe, so that they can help you as well. So I think that's important.
Yeah.
I think nutrition's something I've always known about, especially like eating a healthy breakfast, but it's really easy to just not make time for it, especially in the mornings whenever you're running off to school or something. So that's something that I think I'll be more mindful of and make more time to have a good big breakfast.
Thank you both. In summary then, today we've talked about the 5 pillars of mental health: nutrition, social support, physical activity, spiritual connection, and sleep. If you include at least 4 of these, 4 out of 5 of these most days, you will feel more balanced. So when you're feeling like you're not sure what's going on in your life, check this list. Chances are you only have 2 or 3 of these 5 things. And if you add one of them, that might be a nice way to make your day a little better.